My husband and I don't want kids. My mother-in-law is big into family in the traditional sense. She has been pushy with us about having kids since we got married. Literally the week after we got engaged, she started asking. My husband has always changed the subject, and has even told her that it's really none of her business. Every time we see her, she asks. Everything we do is built around the idea of us having kids. 3 years into our marriage, my husband said we might not even have kids and mother-in-law would not hear it. At year 4, husband had a vasectomy and I had a tubal. So this weekend we were all at their home enjoying some barbecue and drinks and everything. When I get up to grab a beer, my mother-in-law asks me if maybe I should drink water instead, because wink wink nudge nudge. You never know. I was annoyed by this and said, there's really no chance. Mil, all wide grin, said, oh come on. It's time for you two to finally get serious. Put down the beer and tell us when we can finally expect you two to finally make your family official. I said we've been official for about 5 years now, Mil, and drink the beer. Husband laughs with me. Mother-in-law gets more annoyed and says, you won't be real, last names, until you bless us with babies. Husband repeated. After about 15 minutes of the usual comments, I finally snapped and said, husband got snipped. I had my tubes tied. We're not having kids. You need to stop bringing it up. Period. Well, I thought I started WWII. She started crying and stormed off. Family looked at us with disgust and stormed off to comfort her. We left. Party kinda ended. The social media bullshit started shortly after. Vague posts, links about how motherhood is a woman's greatest calling, listicles about how unhappy childless women are, etc. Some meme about how I guess I wasn't a good enough mother and won't be graduating to grandmother. It's obnoxious to the point that I just muted all of them. My mother-in-law finally called me this morning and told me that she was willing to put this all behind us if husband and I came over, and listened to her reasons that we really need to have kids. I told her no, that we are tired of her pushing this on us, and then she said, you two aren't prepared to be real, last name S. I'd like a refund for what we paid for the wedding. It wasn't that much. It was like $400 for the rehearsal dinner. I hung up on her. When recounting this to my friends, a few of them said that I was the asshole here for dropping it like that. But I don't think she was ever going to drop it if I didn't finally make a serious, direct comment about it. I am a 37 years old male. I have a 13Y.0 son. I was a widower when I met my now wife. She has a 16Y.0 daughter from another relationship. The family is often on pretty good terms. My son is the quiet one in the house. He keeps to himself a lot but not to the point of being concerning. My wife and stepdaughter are the complete opposite. They both encourage him to be outgoing and share activities and join gatherings with extended family. My son complained about having to be forced out of his comfort zone and having his need for space invalidated. I spoke to both my wife and stepdaughter and asked them to give him space and freedom to spend his time however he wanted. They apologized and promised to let him be. As Mother's Day was approaching, I wanted to throw my wife a surprise Mother's Day celebration. It was no longer a surprise because my stepdaughter gave her the heads so she could prepare. Yesterday I got off work earlier than usual to get final arrangements done. We planned to celebrate at the restaurant and invited her family there. I had the key, and while I was entering the house through the front door, I overheard my wife and stepdaughter talking to my son. My wife was asking my son if he could convince me to let him stay home and not go with them to the restaurant to celebrate. I paused and decided to keep listening. My son said why, and she told him that his introverted and socially inept attitude will make her family uncomfortable and will ruin the mood. He promised her that he'd be well behaved and would try to interact and socialize with everyone, but she said that she wasn't buying it. He kept reassuring her, but she snapped and told him that technically she's not his mom, so she didn't get why he wanted to celebrate Mother's Day with her so badly. My stepdaughter threw some, I don't remember, backhanded comment, and then both of them were shocked to see me standing there. Both were staring without saying anything. I told my son and his stepsister to go to their rooms, then told my wife that the celebration was off, cancelled. She tried to argue, asking why repeatedly, and I told her why. She tried to explain that she didn't mean it like that and that I only heard part of the conversation but not all of it. I told her I was done arguing and the decision was already made. She yelled, asking what she was going to tell her family, and said that I was making tremendous mistake towards her. I ignored her while she kept throwing tantrum after a tantrum. Early this morning she took my stepdaughter and went to stay with her folks. Not a single call or text from her so far. Situation is full of tension. I'm upset still, but more hurt, to be honest. I mean, yes, I did say I was going to have this celebration, but I thought that what she said to my son was too harsh to ignore. My husband, Jonah, passed away unexpectedly a month ago from a stroke. I don't want to get specific about that part. It's the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. And I'm still not sure how I'm ever going to move on. We were married for 5 years, together for 7. The past 2 years we've been trying for a baby, but we're just getting to the point of considering IVF when he died. Jonah had a close friend in high school named Marjorie. Marjorie also ended up going to the same university as he did, and they spent a lot of time together during those college years. Jonah said that he liked Marjorie's company, but never felt anything beyond friendship with her, which I totally believe. Jonah dated other women during that period, but told me that several times Marjorie hinted that she wanted him to ask her out. She also joked about wanting him to be her plan B in case she didn't meet someone and get married by 30. By the time I'd started dating Jonah, he had moved a couple hours away from his hometown, and Marjorie. Despite this, Marjorie immediately began finding excuses to come to our town and hang out, which usually involved her encouraging us to go drinking, and then her passing out on the couch at Jonah's apartment. I didn't mind her for the most part, but she had a habit of saying things like, "You know you ruined our marriage pact," and pointing out all the things that she knew about him, like what he took in his coffee, his favorite bands, etc. Over the course of our relationship, and especially after we got married, Jonah definitely put some distance into his relationship with Marjorie. He confided in me that he felt he had outgrown her and that they really had little in common anymore. He stopped responding to her invitations to hang out as often, though he would occasionally call to catch up out of guilt. Especially when she would text him or leave messages saying she was so sad he was ignoring her, and the like. But now he's gone. I had him cremated, like he wanted. We haven't done the memorial service yet. It was too hard for me to even imagine the first couple of weeks. And I also wanted to give time for some out-of-state people to make travel plans. The memorial is this weekend. However, 2 weeks ago, I received an email from Marjorie sent to around 60 people, including Jonah's family, saying that she was holding a memorial service for Jonah in the town where they grew up, the day before his memorial here. I was completely blown away, seeing as she hadn't mentioned anything to me or even attempted to call. Along with the details, the email said that she was planning the memorial in light of the fact that no other service had yet been held in his memory, and he deserved to be laid to rest with honor. For the record, she was invited to the memorial, which I've been planning, and knew it was happening. I called her, of course, and told her that while I appreciated her willingness to help with Jonah's goodbye, I was already planning a service for him that would involve all of his family and friends. She immediately went on the defensive, and said that she had only started to plan a service when she realized I wasn't willing to do it in a timely manner. I told her that the timing wasn't her choice to make, but that if she wanted to have a memorial of some kind, to please just add on the invitation that his official memorial was going to be held this weekend. She said fine. I sent a message to all of Jonah's invited friends and family to make sure that they knew the real service, with both of our families, was going to be here, and then just washed my hands of the whole thing. This week I received a message on Facebook from Jonah's cousin, saying that Marjorie, who has apparently blocked me on Facebook, created an event for Jonah's official memorial service, her memorial, and invited everyone she possibly could. I've been getting blown up with emails asking which day the memorial is, and where. I'm honestly furious. I don't have the emotional energy to deal with this. I ended up putting a post up on my wall, reiterating the date of his service here, and asking people to please share it. Thankfully, I think the older members of the family don't use Facebook or email very often, so most of them haven't been confused, but a lot of people now think that Marjorie's service is the real one. I called Marjorie again, asking her to add an addendum to her event saying that his actual memorial was going to be here. She told me that Jonah would have wanted it this way, and that if I couldn't appreciate her efforts, I wasn't invited to say
goodbye
to Jonah. I told her that was fine, seeing as I'd already said
goodbye
to Jonah when I held him as he died. She hung up. Apparently she's now spreading information to her mutual friends with Jonah, saying that he was planning on leaving me because I wasn't able to conceive. She also said that we had approached her to carry a baby for us, all absolute lies. His cousin sent me a screenshot of a text where she said that Jonah always thought we would have the cutest baby together, and that angry widow doesn't understand how much he wants children. I'm at a loss as to what to do. I don't care what she says about me, but she's now tarnishing my husband's memory, especially saying that he wanted to divorce. Jonah would never have left me, and anyone that knows him at all knows that we were committed to each other above all else. I need to figure out how to tell this woman to off without encouraging her to spread more lies. And I also want to just forget the whole thing and crawl in bed and never get up again. I am a 33 years old woman, the breadwinner of our household. I have multiple, highly specialized degrees for a niche industry. I make $200K plus, with potential to get in the $600 MS range. My company has not been hit that badly by COVID, so most of us have kept our jobs, but we're held to strict standards. My husband has a broad degree / work experience. He quit his job right before COVID hit, hoping for a better job in the meantime, and I was supportive. He spent a ton of time applying to various jobs, and finally landed an interview at Organization X. This is his dream job, in almost every imaginable way. I can't be detailed. However, it's paying about $65K a year, which would be fine, except this job directly puts my job stability at risk. My company and this org are adversarial, at best. My field is extremely secretive, and if clients discovered my spouse was working for a competitor, I would be permanently tainted. I wouldn't be able to get a job in the industry forever. I know this sounds like an exaggeration, but I promise you, it absolutely is not. It'd be like if I worked in protecting the privacy of celebrities, and he worked for TMZ. If he tapped my car, got into my work devices, he could use that to advance his career. And any trust one have in this field will be gone. Even if I trusted my husband not to do that, my clients and company don't. Worse, B//C my background is so specialized, this is the only field I can work in. I asked him to drop from consideration for this job, since if he got it, we'd lose my income. $65K a year cannot support us in this city. Plus, he does not have to work for this organization. Even if the job market is awful right now, his background gives him access to a wide range of jobs, but I only have this one niche field. He was extremely angry, and said I was selfish and only cared about money. I told him that if he wanted to go back to school for an advanced degree or just be unemployed for a while, I would support him. But taking this job isn't possible. He continued the process behind my back, and got the offer. He wants to accept it, B//C. He says his career needs to take priority and that I wasn't being a supportive wife. I feel so betrayed, and I've contacted all relevant higher-ups in my company to inform them. I notified them as soon as he got the interview. B//C. It's better coming from my email than from a background check. I told him he could decline the offer, W// me watching him physically decline it. Or he could accept the offer and move out immediately. I would pay for him to stay 2 weeks at a hotel, and we would begin divorce proceedings. My company is willing to take care of all of my legal fees. I feel awful. I still love him. I moved decisively, B//C. This was the best way to cut my losses, but it still hurts. He called me heartless and cold. It's true that I was prioritizing my career over his, but it felt like the only option at the time.